Have you ever noticed that our conversations with New Year's or the New Year is always a kind of one way? We're always making requests of the new year and putting pressure on the new year. So I was wondering, what would it be like if the new year were able to respond? And that's exactly what we're going to look at today on this edition of Poetry, Passion, and Pleasure podcast with your host, Dale Byron. You see, I was thinking, and I know, of course, we love fresh starts, and it's a metaphorical thing when we talk about the new year in many ways. But we do lean on the new year as though there was some magical thing that was going to happen. So I was musing about that, and what came through is this poem entitled "The New Year Begs Our Pardon." The new year begs our pardon. And this is how the poem goes. And it assumes that the new year can not only talk, but can actually make requests of us. So the new year begs our pardon. The new year says, maybe you all could stop leaning on me so hard, loading up my straining shoulders with all your wildest expectations. It says you humans demand more, better, different, and all instantly. An infant year, as if I, an infant year, were some kind of powerful superhero holding back on you all the things you want and desire. I heard what you said. I heard what you said. Glad that old year is done and gone. Glad that old year is done and gone, showing me just how badly you treat all my elders. As you look with longing into my barely focusing new year eyes. But we New Years can get grumpy sometimes. We can get grumpy sometimes about your asking for so many things you could do for yourselves, or at least try. Like being kind to each other, like being kind to each other and to the only Mother Earth you have. To the only Mother Earth you have, to actually act as if you really belong here. Instead, instead, you start all those wars. Instead, you start all those wars and then just wait. And then just wait. But for what? But for what? For me, the new year, to serve up some of that instant, magical peace? Listen, the earth is reeling. The earth is reeling. Listen, the earth is reeling from your microplastics, your pollinator die-offs, rainforest clear cuts, tailpipe spewings, fisheries crashing, forever chemical endocrine disruptions. And then you say, okay, here, new year, it's all yours. And then you say, okay, here, new year, it's all yours. Do you imagine, do you imagine that I have a giant refrigerator to cool the earth down and a secret stash of clean rivers, air, and oceans that I'm hiding? You act as if a new year could somehow suddenly convince everyone, everyone to love each other. And you want billionaires to stop giving it away and start giving it back. Okay, then just do it. Look, look, no doubt You are the apes that love to play with fire. And my father time has noticed your habit of ignoring the prophets who dare speak of love and peace. But hey, but hey, you also invented surgery, jazz, poetry, music, and you love to sing and dance. You love to sing and dance. But hey, you also invented surgery, jazz, poetry, music, and you love to sing and dance. You should have seen your amazing ancestors back in the day doing their own two-step, doing their own two-step. And on those New Year Eves, after a few glasses of wine, pestering no one, pestering no one to magically change the world for them, least of all, a young, innocent, beautiful new year like me. You should have seen your amazing ancestors. You should have seen your amazing ancestors back in the day doing their own two-step. And on those New Year Eves, after a few glasses of wine, pestering no one to magically change the world for them. Least of all, a young, innocent, beautiful new year like me. Well, that little piece that I wrote called The New Year Begs Our Pardon, of course, is done with some firm tongue in cheek here and there. But I'm also getting at something I think that's quite serious. And that is that at different times, we tend to turn over our agency to different things. And in this case, it seems sometimes that we act as though somehow or another some magic is going to happen by a new year turning over. It's wonderful to have a fresh start. But you know the old saying, everywhere we go, there we are. So whatever we have been doing in the old year, and whatever shift we need to make, we're going to need to make that and then use and infuse the new year with that new sensibility, with that new sense of personal agency, with that new sense that we can have our, that we can make a difference if we will actually do that. If we will actually, as the poem says, if we begin to actually act as if we belonged here, not on the earth, but in the earth, of the earth. The new year begs our pardon. Thank you so much for your listening ear. And I really do appreciate it. If you know someone that you might refer the podcast to, then please do it. Make a comment, like the video. If you listen to it on one of the podcasts, then do the same thing over there as well. So, again, until next time and next poems, please, please, please take good care of yourself. And while you're at it, take care of someone else too.